You brought in 30 games. They gave you $40. Those same 30 games, sold yourself, were worth somewhere between $200 and $400. And here's the part that should bother you more than the number. That gap isn't the store being greedy. That gap is the only reason the store still exists. Because on the brand new game you walked in to buy, they made almost nothing. 5 to 15%. That's the margin on a new release. On a $60 game, the store might clear $4. Okay, so you want to own a game store. You've pictured it. Shelves of boxes, a glass counter with the good stuff underneath, retro consoles on the wall, tables at the back for tournament nights, kids arguing over rules, somebody's dad buying a starter deck he doesn't understand. You'd be the guy who knows everything. You'd get first pick of the trade-ins. It's one of the last businesses people still dream about owning for reasons that have nothing to do with money, which is fortunate. Because the shelves you're picturing, the wall of new releases, the thing that makes it look like a game store, are the least profitable square footage in the building. And the people who actually get paid when a game sells were paid before that box ever reached your shelf. By the end of this video, you'll understand 4 things. The 4 kinds of game store, and which one you could actually run. Why the new release wall loses money, and why it's still there. What your trade-in is really worth, and to whom. And why the most profitable game shops in America now spend their evenings running free events for a company that isn't paying them. Let's start with the 4 kinds. Because from the pavement, they all look like the same shop, and they're 4 different businesses. Type 1, the chain. Mall footprint, corporate pricing, no control over anything, and it's shrinking fast. GameStop peaked above 6,000 stores in the mid-2010s. That number has roughly halved. About 1,000 closed in 2025 alone, then another 430 across 42 states in January 2026. Then 80 more in the Southeast that March. You cannot own one of these, and right now you wouldn't want to. Type 2, the used and retro shop. This is the trade-in business. Buy low from walk-ins, sell high to collectors. Your inventory doesn't come from a distributor. It comes from your customers' cupboards. Type 3, the local game store. Cards and tabletop. Singles, sleeves, league nights, pre-release weekends. This is the healthiest model in 2026, and it's also the strangest, for reasons we'll get to. Type 4, the one with no shop at all. Online only. eBay, marketplace listings, card platforms. No rent, no staff, no fixtures. This one is quietly eating the other 3, and it's the reason the trade-in gap is closing. If you're picturing yourself owning a game store, you're picturing 2 or 3. So let's find out what those cost. And the wall isn't the lease, it's the stock. Here's the trap. To open, you need inventory. New product comes from distributors, and distributor accounts want volume, meaningful opening orders, tiered pricing that only improves as you spend more, and net terms you don't get until you've proven payment history. So on day 1, you're paying full freight, upfront, on the lowest margin thing in the shop. Meanwhile, the profitable inventory, the used games, the retro consoles, the cards that carry actual margin, can't be bought from a distributor at all. It has to come from people walking through your door with a bag. And nobody walks into a shop that's been open 11 days. So you fund the low-margin stock with cash, and you wait for the high-margin stock to arrive on its own. That's the gap that kills most of them. Not rent, not competition. The 18 months where you're a very expensive shelf for somebody else's products, waiting to become a shop people bring things to. Which brings us to what happens when they finally do. Reveal 1. The wall of new releases is a decoy. New video games run at 5 to 15% margin. Tabletop and board games do better, 30 to 50. Used games do far better than both, 40 to 60%, sometimes more. So why is the new release wall the first thing you see? Because it's the reason people come in. It's the sign that says, this is a game shop and not a pawn shop. You are paying, in floor space and in tied-up cash, for the right to look like the thing people expect. And that wall is shrinking underneath you. Digital downloads now account for over 90% of PC game sales and a majority of console sales. The physical copy, The entire product your shop was built around is becoming a collector's item while you're still paying rent on the shelf. Reveal 2. So the business is the bag people bring in. Here's the actual engine. A game acquired for around $10 in store credit resells for $25 to $30. That's the margin the shop lives on. And notice the word credit, not cash. The $10 doesn't leave the building. It becomes a voucher that can only be spent on your shelves, which means you've bought your inventory and pre-sold your stock in the same transaction. Now the number from the top of this video. A 30-game collection valued at roughly $40 in trade credit can net $200 to $400 sold privately, 3 to 5 times. And the store isn't lying to you. It's pricing in the thing you're actually selling. Speed. You want it gone today, in one trip, with no listings, no postage, no messaging strangers about whether the disc is scratched. That convenience is the product. The games are just what it's denominated in. Reveal 3, and here's the part almost nobody outside the trade knows. The healthiest game shops in America are card shops. Singles, sleeves, tournaments. But the sealed product, the booster boxes, the thing everyone assumes is the money, runs at something close to 10% at retail. The margin is in singles, buying collections, sorting them, pricing them one card at a time. And the sealed product you need to attract those collections is rationed. On a hot set launch, publishers allocate a fixed quantity among accounts. Not everyone gets what they order. So how does a small shop get a bigger allocation? It runs the community. League nights, pre-release events, registered players. Shops say it openly on their own websites. League participation helps secure better allocations. Read that again. The shop hosts the players, for free, on a weeknight, to earn the right to buy stock from the publisher. Here's how this breaks. And it isn't a competitor. It's a phone. The trade-in model worked for 30 years on one condition. The person holding the bag didn't know what was in it. That condition is gone. Price-checking tools, sold listings, card platforms. A customer can stand at your counter and know the market price of the thing in his hand before you've finished counting it. Which means the gap that funds the shop is being negotiated in public, in real time, by someone who is no longer guessing. And for the owner, the second break is worse, because it isn't about competition either. Your business depends on people owning physical things they eventually stop wanting. That's the whole supply chain. Digital ownership doesn't produce a bag of stuff. A subscription doesn't sit in a cupboard for 6 years and then get carried into your shop. Every download is one fewer future trade-in. You're not running out of customers. You're running out of the thing customers used to bring you. And it's a slow leak with a known end date. So here's the machine, fully assembled. At the bottom, you, with a bag, paid in credit that can only be spent in the building it was issued in. One floor up, the shop. 5 to 15% on the thing you came in for. 40 to 60 on the thing you brought. Carrying the lease, the staff, the fixtures, and the cash gap between the two. One floor up, the distributor. Volume tiers, opening orders, allocation on hot sets. The shop's supply is not the shop's decision. One floor up, the publisher, sets the allocation, sets the release date, decides which accounts get how much of the product that brings the customers in. And at the very top, the digital storefront. No rent, no fixtures, no staff on a Saturday, no trade-in counter, because nothing it sells can ever be resold. That's the reframe. The shop's entire high-margin business is the resale of physical objects. The industry above it has spent 20 years engineering the physical object out of existence. 2 futures. Open the ledger. Scenario 1. You lean into community. Events, singles, tournaments, expertise. Being the place people go on a Thursday. It genuinely works. Paid events at $5 to $25 a head can add $1,000 to $4,000 a month at high margin, and the community drives the allocation that drives the sealed product. But look at what you've become. You're running a venue. Your margin now depends on unpaid evenings and a publisher's goodwill. Scenario 2. You lean into the secondary market. Retro, collections, graded cards, arbitrage. Also works. The margins are the best in the shop. But you're now competing directly with every person who has a phone and a postage account on price transparency that gets worse for you every year. Community, and the publisher decides your supply. Arbitrage, and the internet decides your spread. Heads, someone else sets your ceiling. Tails, someone else sets your ceiling. Same face, both sides of the coin. Here's the reframe. The game shop used to sell you a thing you could own. Then it survived by buying that thing back off you cheap. Now the thing itself is being retired, and what's left is the room. The tables, the Thursday night, the guy behind the counter who knows what your box is worth. And look where everyone ends up. You get $40, the collector pays $300, the shop keeps the difference and hands most of it to a landlord. The publisher decides how much stock the shop is allowed to buy, and the storefront, that owns none of it, stocks none of it, and staffs none of it, takes its cut on every download, forever. The owner collects, everybody else runs the room. Next time, the nightclub, where nobody makes money on the door either, and the landlord outlives every club that ever opened. Subscribe, because once you see this pattern, you cannot unsee it.